A gilded cage, a bloody throne, whispers in corridors, you're on your own, brother against brother.
Welcome to part 3 of our series, The Gilded Facade and the Rot Beneath. Today we will examine Prince William versus Prince Harry, the heir's halo and the spare's scorn. No study of the modern royals can avoid the deep rift between Prince William and Prince Harry, a rift that has been manipulated and magnified by media narratives. On the surface, it's framed in almost storybook terms. William, the responsible elder brother born to be king, doing his duty. Harry, the rebellious younger brother who turned his back on the crown. But scratch that surface and you find decades of unequal treatment, resentment, and even abuse that complicate the fairy tale. In truth, the divergent paths of William and Harry illustrate how the institution rewards those who play by its rules or make their own quiet deals, and punishes those who don't. It's a tale of two brothers, one cast as the hero, one as the villain, not necessarily because that's who they are, but because that's how the palace press complex wants us to see them.
The scepter still held in a velvet hand. The press spins its web of golden lies, a narrative sold to mesmerize, while the truth behind the curtain quietly dies.
Start with Prince William. As the firstborn son of Charles and Diana, he has been meticulously groomed from birth to be the future king. This meant not only training in statecraft and public service, but training in PR and image management. From a young age, William had a different set of rules from Harry. Family friends have recalled, and authors have documented, how even teenage indiscretions were handled. If both boys misbehaved, Harry often took the fall. One striking example, revealed by historian Robert Lacey, was the notorious 2005 incident when 20-year-old Harry wore a Nazi uniform to a costume party. The world was aghast when a photo hit the front page. Harry rightly apologized. But what wasn't known then is that William had gone costume shopping with Harry, saw the offensive outfit choice, and went along to the same party dressed in a tame costume himself. According to Lacey, William faced zero public blame. The palace PR operation ensured he was kept out of the story entirely, preserving the image of the clean-cut future king. Harry took all the heat. As Lacey wryly put it, William emerged the king of the castle, and Harry the dirty rascal in the public eye. This dynamic was deeply formative. Lacey suggests this was a turning point in their relationship. It taught both brothers a lesson. William saw that the institution would always protect him first, even at his brother's expense, and Harry saw that he would always be the convenient scapegoat when the chips were down. Over the years, that lesson played out repeatedly. When Harry had youthful run-ins, scuffles with paparazzi, experimenting with cannabis and underage drinking, it was splashed all over tabloids as evidence of the playboy prince, or irresponsible thicko, as Harry said he was often portrayed. The press painted Harry as the wild one, the dim one, the naughty spare. Meanwhile, any missteps of William's were soft-pedaled or hidden. This isn't conjecture. Harry himself testified that the tabloids actively shaped public perception of him in contrast to his brother. In his court case against the Mirror's publishers, Harry said the tabloids' constant intrusion and portrayal of him as a thicko with a drug problem had a devastating impact on his mental health. He pointed out that editors had blood on their hands, given how their ruthless hounding of his mother contributed to her death. And crucially, in that testimony and elsewhere, Harry has hinted that other royals made peace with the tabloids in ways he could not. He alleges that his family, the Charles and William camp, struck a bargain to appease the press, for instance, by quietly settling phone hacking claims for large sums, instead of holding the press accountable. In 2023, Harry dropped a bombshell claim that Prince William had accepted a very large sum of money in a secret settlement of his own phone hacking case against Rupert Murdoch's newspapers. This was never confirmed by William, who refuses to comment. But if true, it shows William choosing a private, compensated peace with tabloids that hacked his phone, a stark contrast to Harry's all-out public legal war on the press. As Guardian columnist Zoe Williams observed, if such a deal occurred, the royals seem willing to surrender reputations cheaply to the Murdoch empire. Put plainly, William may have gotten a payout and favorable treatment. Harry got ongoing negative headlines and was accused of being reckless for suing. The media praised William's discretion, or more accurately, didn't report much about his case at all, while lambasting Harry for airing grievances. This all set the stage for the major family rupture of the past few years. When Harry and Meghan left, British tabloids often cast William as the steadfast, loyal brother left to pick up the pieces of duty. They lauded William's commitment to the crown, his growing statesmanship, his happy conventional family with Kate. At the same time, they heaped scorn on Harry as emotionally unstable, Meghan whipped, and even a traitor to his family. An infamous example of the double standard came after Harry and Meghan's Oprah interview. One popular UK newspaper front page blared, "Queen, duty, and family come first," next to a photo of the Queen and William, while another page called Harry shameful for speaking out. The subtext was clear: the good royals keep quiet and carry on, the bad royals air dirty laundry. Royal correspondents began constructing a near-heroic narrative around William. He was now the rock holding the monarchy together, the one counseling his aging grandmother and father to make tough calls, like disciplining Andrew or slimlining the monarchy. Indeed, multiple reports credit William as being pivotal in convincing the Queen to finally strip Prince Andrew of his public roles in 2020 to 2021. More recently, as mentioned, insiders suggest William pushed King Charles to permanently remove Andrew's remaining titles this year. It's been reported that Andrew will be stripped of his prince title. If true, that's arguably commendable. But notice how quickly that news was publicized, clearly with palace approval, to burnish William's image as the decisive hero doing the right thing. We see again the media collaboration. If a royal, especially the heir, does something that can be spun as noble, you can bet it will hit the headlines with just the right wording from royal sources. Yet, what about William's own flaws or mistakes? Those are largely absent from UK front pages. Take, for instance, one of the most startling revelations in Prince Harry's memoir, Spare. The claim that William physically attacked Harry during an argument in 2019.
Different riotous emotions coursing through my brother that afternoon. One really jumped out at me. He seemed aggrieved. He seemed put upon that I wasn't meekly obeying him, that I was being so impertinent as to deny him or defy him, to refute his knowledge, which came from his trusted aides. There was a script here, and I had the audacity not to be following it. He was in full Heir mode, and couldn't fathom why I wasn't dutifully playing the role of the spare. I was sitting on the sofa. He was standing over me. I remember saying, "You need to hear me out, Willie." He wouldn't. He simply would not listen. To be fair, he felt the same about me. He called me names, all kinds of names. He said I refused to take responsibility for what was happening. He said I didn't care about my office and the people who worked for me. "Willie, give me one example of..." He cut me off. Said he was trying to help me. "Are you serious? Help me? Sorry, is that what you call this? Helping me?" For some reason that really set him off. He stepped towards me, swearing. To that point I'd been feeling uncomfortable, but now I felt a bit scared. I stood, brushed past him, went out to the kitchen, to the sink. He was right on my heels, berating me, shouting. I poured a glass of water for myself and one for him as well. I handed it to him. I don't think he took a sip. "Willie, I can't speak to you when you're like this." He set down the water, called me another name, then came at me. It all happened so fast, so very fast. He grabbed me by the collar, ripping my necklace, and he knocked me to the floor. I landed on the dog's bowl, which cracked under my back, the pieces cutting into me. I lay there for a moment, dazed, then got to my feet and told him to get out. Come on, hit me. You'll feel better if you hit me. Do what? Come on, we always used to fight. You'll feel better if you hit me. No, only you'll feel better if I hit you. Please, just leave. He left the kitchen, but he didn't leave Notcott. He was in the sitting room, I could tell. I stayed in the kitchen. 2 minutes passed, 2 long minutes. He came back looking regretful and apologized. He walked to the front door. This time I followed. Before leaving, he turned and called back. You don't need to tell Meg about this. You mean that you attacked me? I didn't attack you, Harold. Fine. I won't tell her. Good. Thank you. He left. I looked at the phone. A promise is a promise, I told myself, so I couldn't call my wife, much as I wanted to. But I needed to talk to someone, so I rang my therapist. Thank God she answered. I apologized for the intrusion, told her I didn't know who else to call. I told her I'd had a fight with Willie. He knocked me to the floor. I looked down and told her that my shirt was ripped, my necklace was broken. We'd had a million physical fights in our lives, I told her. As boys, we'd done nothing but fight. But this felt different. The therapist told me to take deep breaths. She asked me to describe the scene several times. Each time I did, it seemed more like a bad dream, and made me a bit calmer. I told her, I'm proud of myself. Proud, Harry? Why's that? I didn't hit him back. I stayed true to my word. Didn't tell Meg. But not long after she returned from her trip, she saw me coming out of the shower and gasped. Haz, what are those scrapes and bruises on your back? I couldn't lie to her. She wasn't that surprised, and she wasn't at all angry. She was terribly sad.
The palace maintained its blanket, no comment policy on the book. The British media reported the sensational claims, but then largely moved on within a few days. Many commentators actually spent more time criticizing Harry for revealing the fight than questioning William's conduct. It was treated as a private squabble, brothers' fight, not a big deal, or insinuated that Harry was wrong to embarrass William by telling it. Imagine, for a moment, if Harry had been the one accused of beating William. Does anyone doubt the press would have crucified him for it endlessly? The difference in framing is the result of that invisible contract. Again, William is the future king, the golden child. It's in the interest of the establishment to preserve his image. So even when he arguably does something deplorable, assaulting his sibling, it's downplayed, excused, or quickly forgotten in the media cycle. Harry, on the other hand, broke the code of omerta by dishing internal secrets, so he is branded a traitor. This is not to say William is a cartoon villain or Harry a flawless hero. They are human, and their estrangement is surely painful on both sides, we hope. Even though it seems like Harry is the one trying to resolve the issues and have an honest conversation. But the way their conflict has been spun is very instructive. Prince Harry himself has acknowledged feeling like the designated scapegoat within the family. I was the spare, I guess, and for a time it satisfied me to play second fiddle. But, he suggested, trailing off that those days are over. He noted how leaving the UK and speaking out clarified for him just how much he and Meghan had been used to protect others' reputations. And in a poignant comment, Harry said he had witnessed up close the pain and suffering of women marrying into this institution. He was talking about Meghan and Diana, but interestingly, not about Kate. Kate Middleton, now Princess of Wales, has had her rocky moments with the press. She was hounded during her long courtship with William, cruelly dubbed Weighty Katie by tabloids. However, Kate ultimately benefited from playing the game, keeping her head down, never complaining publicly, and giving the press plenty of photo ops with her children now. She has a carefully manicured image as the perfect future queen consort. One can certainly respect her poise, But it's also evident that as long as Kate remains in the good graces of the firm, the press will elevate her, often by implicitly contrasting her with Meghan, the difficult Duchess. This too is part of the narrative, the good royal woman versus the bad royal woman. In the 1980s, it was dutiful Fergie versus wild Diana in some reports. In the 2010s, it became perfect Kate versus troublesome Meghan. These tropes are terribly misogynistic, but they keep recurring. They serve the palace because they ensure that any woman who doesn't fit the mold is isolated and blamed. To sum up the William/Harry saga, the monarchy's survival plan has been to cast William as the steady savior of the realm. The press dutifully runs stories about his environmental initiatives, his king-in-training demeanor, his happy family, while casting Harry as the unstable rebel and erasing or disputing any evidence that complicates William's hero image. This is why, despite Harry's bombshell claims of mistreatment, racism, and even assault, polls in Britain often show higher approval for William and Kate than for Harry and Meghan. It's not that the public inherently dislikes Harry. In fact, he was once the most popular royal aside from the Queen, but years of one-sided press coverage have an effect. Still, Harry isn't done telling his truth, and he's forcing some Britons to question the narrative. In court, he said he pursued legal action because he wanted to hold the press accountable and to expose their close dealings with his family. He even suggested that some royal family members made peace with being owned by the tabloids, a damning insinuation that his own brother and father have capitulated to the media's power. If that is true, it is a tainted peace indeed, one that comes at the cost of integrity and familial loyalty.
Share how you feel. And you were really vulnerable in your memoir, Spare. And I know there was a lot of pain in those pages. There was a moment in the book that really shook me to my core. And it was this quote: "Each year I receive from Pa an official clothing allowance, but that was strictly for formal wear, suits and ties, ceremonial outfits. For my everyday casual looks, I'd go to TK Maxx, the discount store. I was particularly fond of their once-a-year sale when they'd be flush with items from Gap or J. Crew, items that had just come out of season or were slightly damaged. Bro, I'm sorry you had to go through that."
I know. You know what? It was hard. It was really hard. TK Maxx it's now a special place. Forms a special place in my memory.
And as I was reading that, I was just like, TK Maxx. But it could have been worse. It could have been Ross, Dress for Less.
They were once inseparable, two boys walking behind their mother's coffin, bound by grief and the promise that we'll always look out for each other. But the world that raised them, the British monarchy, the firm, is not built to honor that kind of brotherhood. It is built to preserve the crown at any cost. William, the heir, shaped by the machine. Prince William grew up knowing he was the future. Every glance, every gesture, every headline was filtered through the lens of destiny. He learned early that silence is survival. That image outweighs emotion. Palace courtiers molded him into the ideal successor, dutiful, discreet, unflinching. But that came at a cost. To maintain the myth of perfection, William became a product of the institution itself, its habits, its secrecy, its unspoken deals with the press. Over time, he learned how the system works, feed it small sacrifices to protect the larger image. When rumors or scandals touched the crown, there was always a trade, another story offered up, another family member thrown to the wolves. It's a system that rewards compliance, not conscience. And William, whether by conditioning or choice, learned to play it well. Behind his polished image, there are whispers of anger, rivalry, and protection deals, phone hacking settlements quietly paid, alliances with tabloids quietly forged. He is not evil, he is entrenched, the heir shaped and shielded by a machine that won't allow him to be fully human. Harry, the spare, who refused to stay silent. Prince Harry, by contrast, was the expendable one, the spare. That title granted him a dangerous freedom. He could see the cracks in the system, because he was never meant to be the system. Diana's death marked him differently. He saw, as a child, the press that killed his mother being welcomed back into palace corridors. He saw his pain turned into tabloid fodder, his mistakes magnified to distract from others. When Meghan entered his life, another outsider, another truth-teller, it awakened something long dormant in him, the instinct to protect, the need to break the cycle. Harry's memoir, Spare, and his court battles against the British press have made him the truth-teller of the modern monarchy. He has said what others only whisper, that the institution trades in lies, leaks, and human sacrifices, that the palace colluded with tabloids to vilify him and Meghan to safeguard others, especially William. His words sting because they are laced with evidence, emails, briefings, silence that spoke volumes. He may be emotional, impulsive, wounded, but he is real, and realness is treason in a family built on facade. Two paths, one system. William protects the firm, Harry exposes it. One preserves the crown's mystique, the other insists on truth, even when it burns. In another world, they might have balanced each other, the pragmatist and the prophet. But within this monarchy, the roles cannot coexist. The heir's silence is power. The spare's speech is rebellion. The cost for William, the cost is authenticity. He wears the crown's weight, but his truth remains hidden under the institution's armor. For Harry, the cost is belonging. He lost his home, his title's protection, and his family's trust, all for the right to speak freely. In a way, both brothers are captives, one gilded, one exiled. But history will likely remember them differently. William, the king the firm built. Harry, the man his mother raised, the one who chose truth over tradition. In Part 4, we will be looking at the scapegoat cycle, a pattern written in women's fates. This interplay of favoritism and sacrifice did not start in Diana's era or Meghan's. It goes way back in the Windsor history, and usually the ones who pay the price are women and spares. Consider Princess Margaret, the late Queen Elizabeth II's younger sister, a royal story often remembered as a tale of star-crossed love and duty. In the 1950s, Margaret was a sparkling, rebellious princess in her 20s who fell deeply in love with Group Captain Peter Townsend, a dashing war hero. But Townsend was a divorced man, a fact that sent the royal household into fits. At the time, marrying a divorced person was seen as a scandalous breach of Church of England teachings. Remember King Edward VIII's insistence on marrying the divorced Wallis Simpson led to his abdication in 1936, shaking the monarchy. So the establishment closed ranks to thwart Margaret's love.
The scepter still held in a velvet hand. The press spins its web of golden lies, a narrative sold to mesmerize, while the truth behind the curtain quietly dies. And still we wave our flags on high. We bought the dream.